It's a place frozen in time, one of NASCAR's relics from years past. When you think of classic short track racing, you may think Bristol, Martinsville, or even Richmond. But those fans with a little more gray in their hair remember North Wilkesboro, the 6/10th mile bull ring that even has a little elevation change. Tonight it hosts round 7 of the Area Cup Series, and as we inch closer to the playoffs, intensity is rising as people fight for a shot at a title. Hi everybody, Kyle Heyer, joined by Hunter Sleppy and Finian DeCuna tonight for the 7th round of the 2024 Season 6 of the Area Cup Series. And Finian, this little track has a whole lot of action packed into it, and while NASCAR has returned to it in the real world, we have the classic version frozen in the mid-1980s.
Yeah, I was going to say, this version of the track, absolutely classic. They did a fantastic job in iRacing reconstructing the vibe and the feels around this track, and definitely you can argue the racing, especially what we've seen here in iRacing, definitely is akin to what we've seen in the past, that classic short track racing. These guys flying around here, some bumps, some runs, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of it for the 185 laps we have here tonight.
Well, short track always means short tempers. I mean, we saw that in early May, not too long ago, in the real-life world, but in the sim, it could be a whole different meaning, Kyle, because we're past the halfway point of the regular season, and it's do or die time for those that are below the top 20 in the points.
Yeah, certainly as we head into round number 7 of the season, things are getting pretty spicy in the championship, and you have to consider that the next couple of rounds are not at easy racetracks. We've got the Southern 500 at Darlington coming up, Circuit Villeneuve, another road course on the horizon, and then you got Chicagoland, Indianapolis, and Talladega. So, Finian, the tracks coming up are certainly not going to make this easy, and you have to consider all the challenges that lie ahead.
Yeah, a lot of different tracks requiring a lot of different driving styles, and I think we're going to see some different drivers ebb and flow near the front. That being said, though, there's one driver that's been consistently near the front this season so far, and that's the number 1, Seth Noel. He's even first place in practice at the moment.
Yeah, he's won 4 of the 6 races here in the Cup Series, and not too far behind him in the point standings is teammate and the head of Solar Flare Racing, Jake Nichols. They have the same stats except for wins. 4 top 5s, or actually 4 top 5s each, 5 top 10s each. But the 73, only 1 win to his name, and the only other driver that has won a race not with Solar Flare is Jake Matheson this season.
Yeah, Jake Matheson running 4th here in practice. As we get closer to the end of practice, let's have a look at how things are stacking up here. And a lot of Toyotas up in that top 5. Connor O'Kresick, though, Jonathan Oates, Cameron Hurd, Peyton Howell, and Blaze McKinney with a really nice round in Dover a couple rounds ago, up there in the top 10 as well. So this is a night when I think aggression's going to pay off, but you also have to make it to the end. It's short track racing, like Denny Hamlin likes to say, Finian, and that means that we could have a lot of yellows, a lot of hurt feelings, a lot of blown tempers after tonight.
Yeah, I think that the big thing is just going to be making it to the end of this race. I think there's going to be a decent rate of attrition, not necessarily from cars retiring, but cars with damage. With so many cars around here, the chances of wrecking, getting into incidents, and just getting annoyed with your fellow competitors could definitely boil over. And again, considering the huge amount of cars you can see here rounding out the practice results, 41 cars currently in practice, so everyone's going to be starting. That's a lot of cars around here.
Going to be a lot for some of the guys in the field, and especially Kwame Scott, who I look at as one to watch for. Although he's 21st on the practice sheet, the one race he has done this year, Kyle, it was a thriller at Charlotte, where he was just barely away from scraping by with the victory over Jake Nichols, who eventually got the job done. But I'm expecting him to be a contender tonight and make things a little more interesting for the Solar Flare group.
Yeah, he lost that race by 1/1000th of a second, and I think he'd like to respond tonight by winning in a decisive manner, but he's going to have a lot of work to do starting, we're going to find out here in a few minutes after qualifying. So with 41 drivers, though, Finian, that means nobody goes home tonight, which I think maybe at Sonoma we didn't have to send anybody home, but we were awful close. So the field is now containable on one grid, but it's still going to be tough to qualify up near the front.
It's going to be hard to qualify near the front, and it's going to be extremely important to qualify near the front, because if we're expecting a lot of cautions, it's going to leave a lot of stop and starting. That means not a lot of time to move yourself forward if you have a bad qualifying effort. Fortunately, because it's a short track, drivers are going to have 2 attempts to make a lap.
It's going to be big for some, because the first lap, really got to get a good feel for the track. Make a little mistake, that's okay. Just don't screw up on lap 2. Otherwise, you're going to be starting from the back, and it's going to be a long night for you.
Well, qualifying is kicking off here in just a moment's time, and as cars roll out onto the track for their qualifying session, race fans, make sure that you subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat, and you can earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today, twitch.tv/Area iRacing. All right, qualifying's really important here. You're going to get a couple of laps, Finian, but man, it's going to be tough to make up positions. This is not an easy short track. You're really on edge in these next-gen cars, so you have to push, but not too hard, and that line is very fine.
It is a very fine line. It's easy to push the power a little bit too hard mid-corner. We always talk about how the horsepower has been reduced in these cars compared to what they were about 10 years ago, but they still got enough oomph out of the corners to light up the rear tires and spin out. And that's something you got to be managing, getting back on the power. It's a little bit warm, not too terribly warm as far as the weather is concerned, so a little bit of throttle management can go a long way.
So we see Jeremy Miller go and put down a second time. I would expect to see the first time just a little bit off, but the second time is where we're going to see a lot of pickup.
At 96 888 for Miller, 19,163 puts him ninth. Blaze McKinney goes third. Ricky Springer to second. And Seth Berger in the 77, making his way down into turns 3 and 4. Big elevation change difference around here, Finian, as well. And that can kind of change the dynamics here a little as you head downhill into the opposite end of the racetrack.
Yeah, definitely that can make a huge deal. As you're looking at Philip Groner in the number 11, he's currently in 12th place. He's coming back to the start-finish line. He's had a stretch of good runs and a couple good races. He comes across the line, doesn't improve, though.
Yes.
And he will end up in 9th.
Oh, Ricky Springer actually jumped back up ahead of Tyler Gary, and Ricky Springer's in need of a good run here. He's just on the outside of the playoffs. He's sitting 14th in the standings right now. The way wins are hard to come by with Solar Flare in the race, but this could be a good night for him and maybe even Jake Matheson.
Peyton Howell, a 19 flat, puts him 8th. A bad lap at all. Greg Mitchell is on track with one lap down, and he's on his going to be entering his final lap here. 19,187. He'll want a bit more than that, as Matheson is going to come around and start his first lap in that number 54 Slinger Racing Graphics Toyota.
And off he will go, and I believe missed the last round at Sonoma. It was a notable absentee. He lost 10 places in the championship because of that, although he's not too phased. He does have a win to his name, so it's not really going to matter a whole lot, but he'll go across around the outside as he uses the first lap as a bit of a joker lap, and then now we'll set a flying lap on lap number 2.
Yeah, Matheson really good in short track starts in the Cup Series. Top 10 in each of his 4 starts and 3 top 5s. His average finish is third on the short track, so we got to keep an eye on this 54 car. He's the only other driver to win this year, not with Solar Flare Racing, but see what his lap time is.
19,982. That puts him third. A pretty strong lap, I must say. Kwame Scott riding way up the racetrack in a similar fashion to what the 54 did. And while he hasn't been with us a whole bunch this season, when he has, he is competitive. Documented his finish at Charlotte, 1/1000th off of Jake Nichols. And we'll see what he can do on this second and final lap.
They're still looking for that first win in Area Cup Series competition, but this 36 car has been really quick when you've seen him out on track this year. And across the line for the 36,
wow.
Quick in qualifying, up to pole by 17 thousandths of a second over Ricky Springer.
Whenever he's here, he always raises the eyebrows of everyone watching, even us here in the booth, just looking at the 36 of Kwame Scott, still at less than a minute to go in qualifying, and a handful of cars that have yet to put a time down, Kyle. Leaderboard's going to light up like it's Christmas.
Matthew Morton goes 7th. James Scioli and Seth Knoll are on their second laps. And Knoll goes 35th on lap 1. Scioli, 19 flat. That'll put him out 6th spot. Seth Knoll, actually a little deeper than that, 10th. Here's Seth Knoll on his second lap. What can he do in this number 1? He's won 4 times this season, and it's only a 19.072. That's going to put him 17th, guys.
Yeah, not a great qualifying effort for the number 1 of Seth Knoll. Other notables as they come across the line. Connor Kresick in 5th, Connor Horn in 6th. I saw Jake Nichols go up to 10th as well, so a bunch of them coming flying near the end here, and qualifying is complete here for North Wilkesboro.
No lap times posted by Ryan Hartz or Travis Speckner, but we did get 39 other times, and Kwame Scott was the quickest of those, Kyle.
Sure was. Puts himself up in the mix. Here's a look at our onboard cameras tonight. There is, as always, Bryce Senesat giving us a look inside his cockpit. Brett Puncari has got his rig ready to go here, pulling off the VR just to get set for his race here in just a moment's time. Connor Horn was quick in practice. And we've got Ricky Springer, who also had a pretty solid qualifying effort. He looks fairly solid. Tyler Gary giving us an onboard look here tonight, as well as Travis Beckner. And then, as always, Michael Curhan giving us a look inside things. Starting a GoFundMe so I can afford this expensive hobby of printing these signs. Well, we need to get him a subscription to get printer ink, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's gonna really be killing you. You gotta figure out how to optimize the proper margins on that, because that stuff is liquid gold.
It's just cheaper to buy a new printer every time.
Basically, work on getting a printing ink partnership with Area.
There you go. That would help a lot. Well, we'll tell you about our starting grid sponsor, and that's Central Mobile Homes. Looking for a smaller, large home, a new shed, or a triple crown trailer? Look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and triple crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com to get started today. Guys, the challenges around this short track, it's similar in length to Bristol, but it doesn't have the banking that Bristol has. When you talk about the challenges of this racetrack, there's just not a lot of lateral grip. When you go off into these corners, you're leaning so much on the tire, and as soon as you overstep that bound, you're going to be in the wall here. And there are concrete walls, no safer barriers around here.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's definitely something you guys got to keep an eye on and manage. Just manage the car, manage the way it handles, watch the way they push these cars. Of course, seeing the tire wear is not necessarily the biggest concern, but it's definitely easy to force the car a little bit too hard, overheat the tires, and then you find yourself spinning out. And you mentioned those concrete walls. It's definitely going to provide a lot of hurt. They're going to wish there was the newer version of the track with the safer barriers to kind of absorb that impact.
Yeah, I'm going to expect a lot of bumping and banging here, especially in the middle of the turns. It's very easy to get back on the throttle and try to make up as much time as possible through the center of the turn, but you don't want to go too hard on the tires, although there is very little tire wear here, but you don't want to overheat them up too much in the early going. You just want to log in some laps and then just ease your way through as the night goes on.
And you pointed out the temperature tonight. It's not exactly scorching. It's about 103 degrees on the racetrack, 71 in the air. Nice and comfortable for the virtual fans here. But, we could see this change. And I think with so many cars around a track like this, we're going to see this track rubber in a lot. And the transition from the beginning of this race to the last lap, which will be 185 laps into this, it will be pretty extreme.
It is going to be pretty extreme. We're going to have, if we do get long green flag runs, you're going to see basically have cars constantly running around this place. So the track's going to be constantly rubbered in, more and more rubber there. Driver's going to be potentially looking for more lanes to get that grip, get that runs, defend and attack the positions throughout the race as it transitions. But before speaking of transitioning, before we head on to the race, got quite a few EOLs coming into this event. Adam Cabot, Garrett Grant, Eversher Jr., Travis Beckner, Nathan Jump, Jeremy Miller, JT Poole, Oates, and Howell all getting EOLs. So that's about, 9 drivers heading to the back of the field? So quite a few of them are heading back.
Pretty much a quarter of the field with an EOL, so that's probably why we didn't see lap times put down by Travis Beckner. I was going to say Ryan Hartz, but he didn't put one down as well. Going to shake things up a little bit. It's going to be a monkey wrench thrown at those guys. Going to have to work their way from the back to the front, and especially at a short track like this, it's going to be a pandemonium by lap 2.
Well, you guys bring up an interesting point. Finian mentioned the lack of tire wear, as we've seen on this next-gen car. You bring up the fact that we'll probably see some pandemonium. What's our tire strategy look like? Is it all a track position play in this 185-lap race, or do you think you're going to need some tires at some point, and will you be willing to pit early for those tires and then stay out and try to make your way through the field?
I just don't think it's going to be worth it. I feel like the track position loss is so huge. I just don't think it's going to be worth it for these riders to come in extra times more than they need to. I think they're going to try to stay out there as much as they can. I wouldn't be surprised if we see guys, play it risky and just stay out there and run on the older tires just because it's less drivers that have to pass, and also more importantly, it takes you less out of the traffic, working your way through the field, and less chance of you getting wrecked.
Track position is always key for races like these where tire wear is non-existent, and Saw that a little bit at the road courses last week, and wouldn't shock me if we saw the same here tonight.
See the elevation change from the exit of turn 4 down into turns 1 and 2. Pretty significant drop. Get down over there to the other end of the racetrack. And when we get going, 185 laps with very short lap times. If this race runs green, it will go pretty quickly. But again, Finian, you pointed out that we have actually broadcast here 7 times before, which I didn't remember. And I remember a lot of races. And I just don't remember. There was one memorable one here with the ORL series way back in 2020. There was a pretty good battle for the lead. But this place, I think, can tend to be on the messier side because of all the things we talked about. So it is going to be important to make it through this race and not get caught behind the pace car for too long.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing. We'll have to see how everyone's going to play out. Are they going to behave? Are they going to be nice? We've seen quite a few guys be more naughty than nice, if anything, due to the massive list of EOLs that we have here. So it's going to depend on how the drivers are planning on tackling this. You mentioned before about the aggression, having to be aggressive potentially to move yourself. It might favor you. But that being said, the big thing to consider for the season is the looming threat. EOL penalty. That might rein them in just a little bit more than in seasons past, where there wasn't much more of a penalty than someone else taking you out. Now the admins are looking at actual incidents. They're going to hand you a penalty heading to next week.
Yeah, they're being more harsh than in seasons past. That they're trying to.
Ross Chastain.
That was Tyler Gary going for the Chastain. What they call that?
Hail Melon.
Hail Melon. Well, melon burst, I think, unfortunately. All right, well, I mentioned earlier that 185 laps at a 16 to 17 second lap will get this race done pretty quickly. How about 58 minutes from flag to flag? That would put us finishing at just about 10:05 Eastern. Don't see that happening, though. So we'll just settle down for batten down the hatches here for this one as we head down to the racetrack, and we'll roll through our Central Mobile Home starting lineup. On the front row, it is going to be the number 36 of Kwame Scott and his Camaro. Ricky Springer and his Camry lines up on the outside.
And a solid row number 2 as well. Tyler Gary lined up in the 62 in 3rd. Next to him, Jake Matheson lined up in the 54 in 4th.
Connor Okresic rolls off 5th place in the number 14 Camaro, and Connor Horn starts 6th in the number 42. One to watch here in that car.
Got the 87 of Blaze McKinney in 7th place. We've seen him be aggressive. We'll see if he can move to the front. Next, some reshaper, solid qualifying effort for the 97. He's in 8th place.
9th place, Matthew Morton in the number 18 in his Toyota Camry, and Jake Nichols rolls off 10th in the 73.
Moving on back to 11th, we find James Scally in the number 7 machine. Next to him, it's going to be Jonathan Oates in the 45, lined up at 12th.
13th place, Ed Scherer Jr. in the number 17 car. Cameron Hearn starts 14th in the number 4 Ford Mustang.
Moving on to row number 8, 25, Bailey Turner's lined up on the inside in 15. Next to him, Peyton Howell in the 52. He's going to be lined up in 16th, but he's going to be heading into the back with an EOL.
And Seth Knoll rolls off 17th in the number 1 Camry. He's got some work to do to get his 5th win of the season. Trey Eitzen starts 18th in the 78.
Going on back to 19th is going to be Andrew Payne in the number 70 machine. Next to him, Philip Groner in 11, lined up in 20th.
And in 21st place is Michael Curhan in the number 24. Matthew Bell in the number 8 rolls off in 22nd.
Greg Munch is lined up in the number 2. He's going to be lined up in 23rd. Next to him, Nick Silver in the 99, rolling off 24th.
And 25th place, Mason Payne in the number 31. And 26th, Drew Chua in the number 13 car.
Back in 27th is going to be Bryce Senezak in the 09 machine. Next to him, Jeremy Miller lined up in the 30 car in 28th.
29th place is Tyler Nichols in the number 41. Douglas Newbegin starts 30th in the 71 car.
Landon Cardillo is going to line up in 31st in the number 19 car. Next to him, Max Service in the 81 car, line up 32nd.
Justin Bondurant rolls off 33rd in the number 9 Camaro, and Emerson Arden in the 57 starts 34th.
Moving on back to 35th, Adam Cabot lined up in the 07. Next to him is going to be Garrett Grant in the number 5 in 36th.
And he's also got an EOL, Garrett Grant does.
Yes.
35th place, Brent Pucari. 37th place in the number 35 car. And he'll be alongside Seth Berger in the number 77 in 38th.
Back in 39th is going to be Ed Robertson in the 64. Next to him is going to be Ryan Hartz in the number 3. And rounding out your field of 41 cars is going to be Travis Beckner, rounding out everyone else in 41st in the 28 car.
All right, reverse order. I'm 8 points behind Finney and the commentator picks, so that means Hunter picks first. Hunter, who you got winning this thing?
Ooh, that means I'm last. Numbers tell me Jake Matheson. He's got a top 5 in every short track start, and he's 17th in points. So look for him to move on up.
All right, I will regret this, but I like his pace in practice. I like his pace in qualifying. Connor Horn in the 42 is my pick tonight.
I mean, he's won 4 out of the 6 races this season, and he was pretty quick. He was the quickest in practice. I'm going to go with the Seth Knoll, the number 1 car. He's starting in 17th, but I think he's going to move forward pretty quickly.
He has not led me wrong so far, Finian, except for I didn't pick him at Daytona.
Except for the time that he let you wrong.
Well, except for the one, I think it was Charlotte. I think that it didn't go well. It didn't go well for anybody that night. But time to go racing from North Wilkesboro, the Area Cup Series, Season 6, round number 7. The pace car is going to do one more circulation, and before we turn them loose for 185 laps. A couple new liveries on the some of these cars tonight, including the 42, and also his teammate has got a new paint scheme, Jeremy Miller, as well.
Yeah, Jeremy Miller, talk about drivers that have a lot of work to do. He's been relegated to the back, and he's halfway behind the field already as they work their way into turn 3.
So, short track racing for the first time this season. Not the last time. We'll head to Bristol in round 13. Next week, Darlington. The week after, Montreal. Then Chicago, Indy, and Talladega. Tonight, we might start some of the fights we'll see in the championship finale. Green flag of a racing at North Wilkesboro. Just like that, a lap is done. They're going to click off very fast around here. Kwame Scott to the lead. Ricky Springer second. Matheson, Gary, Okresic, your top 5.
Yeah, I saw Tyler here get very close to the back bumper of Kwame Scott, almost turned him around. He just backed off enough to lay off him heading into turn 1, but they're still fighting, especially back here. See the 42 Connor Horn on the outside. He's working around Blaze McKinney. It's a battle for 6th place between them.
A stack up on that bottom row. Not too many guys on the outside, so you're going to make the most of that. Connor Horn looking to stay 6th. As a little further on back, got some side-by-side action. Cameron Hearn and Philip Groner also using the outside lane to their advantage.
Yeah, this is kind of a multi-group racetrack in some senses. You can make passes on the bottom, but I think you kind of want to be on the outside for defense a little later, depending on which end of the racetrack you're on. So we'll see that kind of ebb and flow as well. As a bit of a scrum back here between Emerson Arden, 41 of Tyler Nichols, the 19 of Landon Cardolo, and the 77 of Berger. There's Beckner up 10 spots already.
Yeah, he's on a mission forward, trying to make up for lost time. He's not waiting for anything special.
Trouble ahead of us.
I didn't say that. Newbegin in the wall. I think he tagged Max Service, caution out.
See him swerving sideways on the front stretch, trying to avoid that, Kyle. Calamity early on lap 5.
It didn't take too long, did it? And let's go back and have a look at what happened to the 71. He was right behind Greg Mitchell. And the 2 spins first. The 71 kind of follows, then kind of lazily spins back across the racetrack, tags Max Service. Emerson Arden's in it. You see the 07, a Cabot get collected. Nobody took any big hits down here, but just cars spinning every which way.
Yeah, everyone just trying to avoid and take evasive maneuver as much as they can. Problem is, there's not a lot of places to take evasive maneuver at.
Even Garrett Grant back there even spinning out, just completely.
Oh yeah,
all the way behind this, and this is, you don't have a lot of lateral grip. You might have gotten tagged. Nope, just hit a bump. Same thing that the others did, and nice. Peyton Howell did a great job missing that. Watch this.
Whoa. Little kiss to the outside wall, but the car pretty much in good shape.
The first yellow lap number 5, and we've established our running order already. But clicked off a few. That turn 4 exit's pretty tricky, Hunter.
Yeah, very tricky. Caught a few people off guard this early on. Very shocked by how that all took place. And then obviously checking up's going to be a problem here, at least on the front stretch. The back stretch you have a little bit more room, although there is grass to the inside. The front stretch you have an inside wall, so your options are very limited if you're trying to avoid a wreck on the front stretch.
You can even see, if you look at the exit of turn 4, how the wall kind of goes up and out. The track kind of falls away a little over there. And it creates a pretty slippery zone. And, I mentioned the lack of banking here. You're carrying a lot of speed, especially into the downhill, but because you don't have banking, there's not a lot to lean on when you get down there. So if you charge the corner too hard, it will bite you in a big, big way. But Greg Mitchell's a lap down. Everyone else is on the lead lap, and we'll get the 1 to green. Quick yellows here because of the short lap.
Quick Hills like to see that. Get everyone back ready to go underway. Kwame Scott will lead them again. Springer, Matheson, Gary, and Okrezik, your top 5. You're pretty much the same top 5, slightly shuffled around as we get ready to take the green once more.
Here we go. Field rolls out of turn number 4. Kwame Scott is on the inside. Ricky Springer on the outside. Take note of that for later. Here we go. Green flag and we're racing again at North Wilkesboro. Is that the 14? That's the 87 that's way up high out there.
Trying to make a 3-1 on the outside of turn 2, but couldn't quite stick it there as he had to yield to Tyler Gary, who's now trying to work the outside of Ricky Springer. But 51 blocking low and will keep that spot. And now it's Gary versus Matheson for third as there's more battles on behind.
Ooh, that 57 almost had a moment there. That was Emerson Arden. And he's still in a pickle coming off too.
Oh, he's squeezed again. He's going to get hit by the 52 of Peyton Howell, who's trying to move forward. It is scrappy back here, isn't it? As is this battle.
A lot of quick cars are back there from the EOLs, and also drivers just had a pit under this last caution. So a couple quick drivers back there, they're going to be trying to move forward as quickly as they can. But obviously you got to be relatively clean when you do that. You don't want to make too many enemies and get too many penalties back there. You see Jake Nichols on the outside ripping the line, and that seems to be the lane to go with at the moment if you want to make some moves. He's working around Okrezik for 6th.
Yeah, no one else using it in front of him or behind him, at least. Right around him, you got Seth Nolan, the one who's trying to utilize that, but he's got Philip Broner, Cameron Hearn on the outside of that as well, just trying to navigate his way through all this carnage.
Like this outside lane, because you could stay in the throttle a little longer and you can have smoother inputs. You got to be a bit sharper to slow the car down in the bottom because this track is so short, but it's pretty wide. The difference in speed on the bottom versus the top is significant. Noel still stuck behind Philip Broner in the number 11.
And just up ahead of these drivers is Cameron Hearn, the driver who cannot seem to catch a break this season. So far, so good. He's running well in 13th. Highest finish this season out of the 5 starts for Cameron Hearn. He's 34th. So I think he's just hoping for some decent luck to come his way so far. And so far, so good in the early running here as Kwame Scott is locked in and concentrated. Look at the focus in his eyes. His head is not even moving. He's dead focused ahead on making his corners and trying to break away from Ricky Springer and Tyler Gary.
He's led all the laps so far in the early going, and you mentioned Ricky Springer as well. He's on the outside of the playoffs looking in as the 78 of Landon Cardolo looking to keep the one of Seth Noel at bay, but that outside lane keeping him in touch.
28 of Beckner is up to 23rd position, so he's almost driven through half the field, and it seems like the front bumper's still on this car, so he hasn't made any enemies yet, Finian. That's important tonight, because sometimes passing drivers comes at the expense of their spot on the racetrack, and they don't become fond of that. So he's got time. He should be pretty patient, and he seems like he's done that so far.
It's so far so good. A little bit of door-to-door contact with Nick Silver on the inside, though, but he has been picking him up, putting him down where he can. And just kind of picking off one car at a time. He's been plus 17. Trying to get past Nick Silver, be plus 18. Working his way around the track, and everyone's kind of filing into line as much as they can, really, around here. As Mason King gets really tight off the corner, that backs up everyone. Matthew Bell now working around, and here comes Beckner, also working around 31.
Beckner had his hand up in the air. Matthew Bell is like, hey, move it, I gotta go, I got places to go, people to see, races to win.
20 laps complete. Things happen fast here in North Wilkesboro. While this battle continues, the leader is being run down. Ricky Springer is catching Kwame Scott.
The thing is, we always say catching is one thing, passing is another, especially at a short track like this. So I think Springer's going to have his work cut out for him. I don't think he's really going to push the effort. I don't think it's really worth trying to make a pass here on lap 20 of 185. So I think this might just maybe try to sit in behind Kwame Scott because they're enjoying a comfortable lead between themselves and Tyler Gary.
Springer needs a good finish. He's gotten 2 top 10s in his last 3 races, so wants to keep the momentum rolling on his part and try to chase for a championship. Meanwhile, back here, 3 wide, center sack in the middle of Berger, and that's Peyton Howell to the inside.
Yeah, Peyton Howell got there with a big send into turn 3. Watch this run that he gets out of 2. Sees an opportunity and just sails it down into turn 3, Finian, but somehow they made it work. You don't see that a lot at the short track.
No, you really don't. Household trying to work on Bryce Senizak at the moment, working around the outside, and Max Service just up ahead after he had some minor contact in the first wreck. Riding on board, or looking at on board for Bryce Senizak. Just got passed by the 52, and the caution's out in behind. Justin Bonnarant and the 71, I think? Oh no, Edward Shear Jr. got involved.
71 is there as well, but I'm not sure if he was an innocent bystander or just let the action unfold in front of him.
Let us find out. Bondurant kind of goes up the hill, and well, it kind of happened on his own, and the 17 just had to stop. He did get kind of rear-ended there by Newbigging, but it seemed like that was kind of self-inflicted there by the 9. Again, going off in there really hard, Finian locks up, then gets tagged by Jonathan Oates.
Yeah, he almost like his brakes weren't working. It just seemed like he just could not get the thing to slow down. I think he was, like you said, he was trying to outbrake. I think he was running against the 19. Just could not get the car low down in time, made contact, and then riding on board with Douglas Newbigging, and nowhere for him to go.
Yeah, unfortunate. That's a Lucky Duck car as well, hitting another Lucky Duck car. So a couple unlucky ducks early in the going as still...
Did we...
What?
Pass for the lead while that was all happening?
I think we did. Like right at the brink of it.
Here we go. Here's a look at it.
Oh, yeah.
So nobody making pit stops here, so let's go back and look at this while we're watching other battles deeper in the field. Ricky Springer was chasing down Kwame Scott. He had been hunting in the last couple of laps prior to this.
There's a turn 1, gets really close there. Then sets up the corner a little bit, team running a half a lane high, comes down low, gets a run off the corner.
And actually, Scott kind of made that easy on him. I don't think he fought him too hard on that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that was planned maybe. I think he figured just let the 51 on by, and then the next lap they came to get the yellow. That was very last second.
That happened, I think that well, not to this extent, but it happened in the truck race back in season 4, I believe, when Cameron Hearn took the lead and then there was an immediate caution with like 45, 46 to go. And it ended up helping Cameron Hearn get the win for the truck series. Although it is still early on, Kyle, could be a blessing in disguise for Ricky Springer that the yellow came out because track position very key on this short track.
Absolutely, it's key. And a number of drivers have come to pit lane. Some that were running a little closer to the front, like Tyler Gary and Cameron Hearn. They've come down, taken 4 tires. And what are your thoughts on that, Finian? It seems a little early to me to make that move, but maybe they think it'll gain them something, or maybe it's an experiment to see what it's worth.
I'm just wondering if maybe he came in to get fuel, because these guys are going to have to come down at some point to get a little bit of gas. Not a lot, but enough. And I think he feels maybe now's the time where I can come in. It's early enough in the race. I can come in, get my pit stop out of the way, and then pretty much only go up from here. So it's a bit of a risky call. We'll see if it plays out for him.
Pace car's off out of turn 4. Ricky Springer is the new leader and back underway at North Wilkesboro.
That's not good. Reece Schaefer blinking in and out inside the top 10 just as they were getting up to the speed.
Yeah, he's getting out of the way now, and that's just a smart call. And actually, whoa, Cameron Hearn goes for a bobble, but usually drivers don't react that fast to that situation, so I give him a lot of credit for doing the tough thing and just bailing out of it. Watch Jake Matheson in the 54 up the outside of Blaze McKinney here.
Yeah, I was about to say, this battle's starting to heat up here. Matheson working around the outside, McKinney on the inside. Meanwhile, Kwame Scott trying to trail down the 51 as the caution flies again. Nick Silver looks like he's spun around at turn 3.
What happened to the 99? He was alongside Mason Kane. A little jammed up behind Jeremy Miller. Ooh. Once, twice, thrice. That's all that took. This
Hey, Max Service went all the way to the inside there. I'm not sure if he had contact or was just trying to avoid the silver machine.
Yep. I'm curious to see how this will get ruled. Seems like the 30 turns left and to cause the initial contact right here. And the 99 back across the road. So
Yeah, he jumped on the radio, but he apologized to Nick. He was saying he was just trying to make a move to the inside of Bell, and then unfortunately they met there in the middle.
Almost had it too, but then with the grass approaching, he kind of had to steer it back to the right a little sooner.
That second contact really sent him far enough into the grass, like you mentioned. Very easy to loop from there, but we will see if we'll see how that'll get ruled. If anything, it might be an EOL for the 30, but I think already close to the back. Actually, he's kind of stuck midfield, so that wouldn't really help him. Tyler Gary, in the meanwhile, is up to 25th, slowly moving back forward once more.
Yeah, it's always tough, Kyle, pitting early on, especially at a short track like this, because the yellows have come from the middle or towards the rear of the field. And I just have a feeling that if you want to stay out of this, obviously being in the front would work, but that's always the main concern if you're pitting early. And like I said, these yellows have come from the middle of the field or in the back of the field. Very easy to get caught up in this.
Well, just notified in our YouTube chat that viewer J. Ray Bay has hit 55 months as a member of SimTV. About 4.5 years.
Pretty sure he's the oldest one.
That would be true. 4.5 years. That is crazy.
Good Lord.
How much has happened in the last 4.5 years?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Too much.
On the SimTV side of things and the global side of things, yes, a lot has happened in 4.5 years.
I was going to say, even personally and professionally, a lot has changed. Anyway, we're back underway. Ricky Springer, Kwame Scott on the front row, and Springer is on the money down into turn one, but Kwame's giving him a run for his money on the outside lane here.
Yeah, looks like he feels he has a good shot at getting it back, but it's going to probably be quickly usurped here as the 51's going to charge into turn three. Kwame still pushing that car on the outside. Meanwhile, 3 wide back here. See Drew on the middle, Jeremy Miller to the inside, and Payne to the outside. And they will disperse once more. Travis Beckner as well in the middle. That he's also looking up potentially 3 wide.
Man, Travis Beckner's really been widening his arc in 1 and 2, just trying to get as much of the racetrack as possible. It's worked out for him. He had a EOL, so he already had the start in the back. He's closing in on the top 10, not too far from it.
By the way, shared incident responsibility for that most recent collision. Makes a lot of sense. Beckner's really squeezing up to the outside here, trying to make moves in that 28. 3 abreast out of turn 2. He's going to try it again on the outside of the 24 Curran, but didn't get overlap.
Yeah, he ended up tapping the backstretch wall coming off the corner. He was getting really tight. And he's still trying to go up there. And that's the issue that you get. It's really tight. That wall comes up on you quickly. Everyone is flying towards that wall on the exit. So very easily to pinch yourself, get yourself on the wall, and kill your momentum. But he's been trying to make that outside work. Now fighting with Drew Jewett. It's a battle for 15th place. Makes a huge lunge on the 24 Michael Curran.
Yeah, he's really trying to get that outside lane going towards the back. Saw the 8 of Matthew Bell. He bounced off the wall there. He's trying to get that going. And the 70 of Andrew Payne slapping the wall up front. Meanwhile, just in front of Travis Beckner, right outside the top 10. Philip Groner trying to hold on this 11th as Seth Knoll looks to the inside.
This is getting really tight, and everyone's kind of cheating up the racetrack. This is kind of what you see at this place. As the run goes on, you move further and further up the racetrack to try to carry more and more speed. And then by the end of this thing, everyone's up against the outside wall. It reminds me a lot of, what's that other short track? IRP?
Whoa, Mason Cage! Get it on the front stretch!
And back into traffic. Oh, no!
Oh, no!
And Bryce Senesac goes for a ride.
He nearly took a tumble like Corey LaJoy did earlier today. That's the 4th caution of the race.
He got quite the hip check there, almost sent airborne, which you wouldn't normally talk about at a short track like this.
That all started on the exit of 4 with Mason Kane. I'm not sure what happened, but his car just went sideways all of a sudden.
He just gets loose on his own and comes back across the racetrack. Going to bounce off the wall into the 77, and then, gosh, the 09. What a heavy hit that was. Seth Bergeron's underneath him. Bam. Picks it up and straight into the concrete. Was lucky to get the wall and not the catch fence there. But it all happens so fast. Seth Berger's on board.
Yeah, nowhere really for him to go in all that.
Who was the car that ended up underneath the 09?
The 07 out in Cabot.
Yes.
That was Cabot. Yeah. Man. Yeah, one little slip and a big mess behind him. Do you believe we're about a quarter of the way through this one already, guys?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of flying by, and I think this is, what, caution number 4?
That's right. Fourth yellow.
Okay.
Honestly, we've been under caution about half as many as we have green, and that doesn't, I mean, it feels like we've had quite a bit of running, but the short laps help with that.
I was going to say, I think the cautions have been really short.
Man. I didn't get to my mute button fast enough. I apologize for everybody for that. I didn't know that one was coming.
Oh, yeah, it's one of those ones that kind of sneak up on you.
Oh, it snuck up on me. My cat jumped in my lap and brought some dust with him, I think.
All right, well, while we're under caution, without looking, without cheating, how many, does anyone know how many cautions we had in the Area Truck Series race?
17.
Close.
16.
Yes.
I knew it was one of the two. We were talking about it a couple hours ago with Jacob Bell and a bunch of others down in the general chat for area, which props to Jacob. This is a very difficult week because it is a short track, and like you mentioned, 16 yellows in the only previous race here for area, so it's a lot to handle.
One to green here. Lining back up for a restart. Ricky Springer still in command.
Kind of wonder when Kwame Scott's potentially going to be able to rebound. I don't think he'll be able to really have a go at it until we get a long green flag run like we had earlier on after the first caution. But he's going to have to kind of let this play out. Fortunately, a lot of short runs recently, back to back to back.
Scar makes the left onto pit lane, and here we go. Green flag. Tyler Gary in the background there, remember, on fresher tires, making a move forward underneath the 78 of Eitzen. And pushes the 19 of Cardullo way up the racetrack.
He's trying to make some moves, make some aggressive runs early on to get back up there, get up near the top spot, because I would argue I think he's pretty much good to go to the end on fuel, if not close to good. I think he might be banking on a few more cautions to slow this down. Meanwhile, Jake Matheson making a move on the outside of the 87 of Blaze McKinney, trying to fight for third, but McKinney's been very stubborn in his defense, trying to keep that spot.
And very hard to come by as Tyler Gary still trying to make some work on the inside. I almost read that as read Skyley's car as Tyler Gary, but nonetheless I read this as Connor Horn with the new 42 paint scheme, and he's kind of been stagnant. He's been inside the top 10, but hovering around 6th or 7th for most of the races. Springer still leads, and Connor Horn backs off from 3 and 4 there.
I think Connor would do well with a longer run. Not sure that these continued restarts are playing into his favor. We'll watch him try to move back forward. At least he's got single file, can choose his lane now as Springer leads by about half a second over Kwame Scott. Michael Curhan's a little out of line, and wow, that 19 of Cardullo almost got the wall, and somebody's middle 3 wide. There's Miller again.
Yeah, Miller's been trying to work through the field as much as he can. He's been put up, put back down, put back up, put back down, and he's kind of breaking away a little bit.
Right around 24th there with Emerson Arden, nearly tapping the wall there on the outside.
He did get the wall actually, and then bounced off it again going into turn 3.
Bryce Henizak lost a lot of positions back to 24th with Jeremy Miller sideways in front of him. And for McKinney, it looks like he got sideways off of turn 4, and that put him way down the
Spinner!
And Robertson. Oh.
Did he save it?
Yeah,
he did.
He did. Wow. We'll stay green.
A lot of people getting loose.
Muffin Man at it again with a great save, still green, and it's Springer still leading as Kwame Scott 4 car lengths back in second.
Into turn 1. Matthew Morton in that 18 has had a decent run today, but the action is centered right around this spot. The 70 spins.
Oh, look out.
Andrew Payne goes around.
Who did he get help from?
Survey says.
kind of a twofer there.
Oh,
Sort of what we saw with the 9, right? Like he just gets tight underneath somebody, and then he gets helped right there by the 81. But that hardly contributed, and then you see the 9 get the wall on the outside there.
Yeah, I think the issue is that the banking's not consistent around here, so it's a lot flatter on the bottom part of the racetrack than it is up near the top. Not by a whole lot, but enough to, when you're trying to rely on the banking to get these cars to rotate what little there is, and you throw it down in there, it's just not going to really turn into the corner. I think we saw that with Payne and with Bondra.
I think Drew Jua just missed his box by a while.
Did he? Oh yeah, he did. Wow.
The pit boxes aren't marked all that well down there, so I can't.
No, it's also one of the tightest pit lanes I think we've seen, because they've crammed all 40 cars onto the one half of the straightaway. I think the current one, the pits, they start on in turn 3?
Yeah, the pit entrance. The pit entrance is somewhat towards the entrance of turn 3, but the pit boxes begin in the middle of 3 and 4.
It's very claustrophobic down there.
One of NASCAR's, as Polar Express fans will know it, recycling an old racetrack, turning it back into something new, and hoping to invoke the nostalgic NASCAR of the days of old, like Rockingham.
Yes.
Some of those experiments work well, and some of them seem to not.
I was surprised. I wish Rockingham was given more of a shot.
Oh.
Did you see that leaked schedule the other day? Wasn't Rockingham on there?
Was it?
Thought so.
Oh, I completely missed looking at it then. I looked at that.
It's rumored for the Xfinity, the trucks, and even Arco for Easter weekend.
Oh. Well, hopefully that was right.
Well, I think the problem was that when they went back to it was in 2012. Hadn't it just been repaved, I thought?
Yes, it was just repaved.
That's never a recipe for success. It's always had dark pavement now, but
no, it had like jet black pavement. Like they just repaved it and were putting cars on the track. And how many years did they run around there? It wasn't too long,
only gave
right?
it 2 years.
2012 and 2013. Yeah. I think Kyle Larson won the last race there, and that was also, I believe, Tyler Reddick's first Camping World truck start.
Didn't Casey Kane win the truck race in a Kyle Busch truck that year? 2012?
I feel like you're right. I feel like I loosely remember that.
Interesting. Yeah. Jason Beckner suggests Bowman Gray. Well, you might as well just turn them all loose in a boxing ring at that point.
Pretty much what it is.
Yeah. They just put some pavement down just for the novelty of it. Here we go. Restart lap 61 of 185, about a third of the way through the race, and Ricky Springer got a nice jump. He's off and away.
Trying to run off into the distance and break away. Kwame Scott's still trying to see if he can get that lead back. Not really had a good shot since he really had the lead and handed it over to Ricky Springer. Side by side and behind Springer, working on Jake Nichols. And we actually haven't seen a lot of the 73 car up near the front as Connor Horn is battling with Kreskin behind.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of him, but he's slowly been creeping closer and closer towards the front threes. He's trying to get around Matheson for that spot. Travis Beckner has cracked the top 10, or at least he did for a moment. Actually, he still is. He's running in 9th now, battling with Matthew Morton in 18. Looking there to the inside as he's trying to get Beckner a run for his money.
If I knew he was going to be this good, I would have picked him. This is a really impressive run. He's going to blow right by my pick, and he started last.
Yeah, I was going to say he's been really working that car up here and slowly but surely making his way through there. And it's before halfway, too, so he's made it, I think, just about a third of the way through this race and made it up inside the top 10. So really impressive climb for the 28. Meanwhile, a cluster of cars in behind. Tyler Gary in the middle of all this trying to move up. He's got Bailey Turner and Seth Knoll just ahead of him.
Yeah, Travis Beckner, average finish is 16th on these short tracks. He's had, 10 starts and only 3 top 10s in those 10 starts. So really, you got a yellow, and it is for Greg Mitchell.
He's kind of center 3 wide here. Blaze McKinney's back here. And he's just going to get squeezed by the 87. He just gets locked together with Trey Eitzen. Nothing those two did wrong there.
No. Just tight quarters racing there. 57.
Also a little,
maybe a little bit more than he should have.
Also a little bit of desperation there for McKinney because he was running inside the top 5 earlier, and he's just trying to make up as much ground as possible because although we are on lap 64, Kyle, we're starting to run out of laps.
Yeah, I mean, this goes by quick, right? I mean, if we go green, things are done very quickly, so let's consider that. A few more pit stops, and this time it's got some front runners, Philip Kroner and Kim Scioli, both solar flare cars.
I'm not too surprised. I'm not too surprised because we're heading to halfway, and you're able to make it from here to the end, so it might as well come in around now. You don't want to spend too much time. Yeah, I think you don't want to pit too late. I think is going to be the big thing because you never know when that green flag run is going to come. That could really upset your strategy, and also if you pit later on, you're really going to be near the back.
And for the meantime, this helps out the front runners, especially Ricky Springer, staying in the lead. And mentioned it, Kwame Scott gave up that lead a lap before the second caution of the race and hasn't been able to get by him since.
Yeah, you have to wonder if that was, I mean, he did not fight the 51. Now you have to wonder if he is regretting that. But he's got pace that is equivalent to Ricky, and I think if you got 30 or 40 laps, you might find it plays out differently. But he was laser focused before. Now he's sort of inquisitive about how he's going to get back around this 51. This has been a season day. Yeah, he is plotting. This has been a season solid day for Ricky Springer in this 51. This would shake things up if he were able to get a win.
Yeah, he's had a very quiet season. Normally by now you would have a win or a couple top 5s, a couple top 10s. But looking at his stats, he's only had 2 top 10s this entire season. So it's been very quiet in the 51 camp, and he's had mixed results across the board.
Well, we've had some great replays so far, courtesy of Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing returns to the Hendry County Motorsports Park on September 7th. It's only a few weeks from now, including 360 Top Gun wing sprints, Cruiser late models, factory stocks, and more. Tickets are just $15 for adults, with discounted prices for seniors, teens, and kids ages 5 and under are free. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Lewiston, and Sebring. Head to sorry. Got mixed those two together. I was looking to make sure we weren't going green. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off US Highway 27. Visit henryracing.com for more info. They got short yellows. I got a lot to read. Bear with me.
Hendry County Motorsports Park is only in one location.
Yes. I mean, if they had it in more, wouldn't that be great? Either that or tickets are $15 to Central Mobile Homes, in which case that's a great deal.
Back in like the 1950s.
Well,
I wish.
We're living in the 80s right now. Green flag, lap 71. Ricky Springer fires him off and away. Tyler Gary looks at center, 3 wide. Is Beckner into turn 1?
Oh,
he gets tagged.
And they all check up, and they somehow keep it going, but Beckner's loose in the middle, trying to get back up to speed. And I imagine he's going to be a little bit hot under the hood.
I would imagine as well, as he's just monkeying in the middle right now, just trying to find a groove. Whoa, spin in the back, Nick Silver! Off turn 4, the yellow's going to come back out.
We all dodge it. Let's see what happened here. Big lockups there into 3 as those guys were all getting tangled, and this is off the bumper of the 70, just going for a hole that didn't really exist. And then a little stack up behind, but what we were watching on the restart was the 28 get sort of used up. Let's go back a little further. Watch it right here into turn 1. Gary get really aggressive, knocks the 28 up the hill, and he tries to throttle up right there, and it just doesn't go, and he loses 3 or 4 spots in this exchange.
I thought he was about to spin it out. He did a great job recovering, otherwise that could have been a massive wreck in the middle of the field. But was able to right the ship, and a couple of the front runners coming on down, Ricky Springer and Jake Matheson.
What do you think?
Well, again, you got to pit at some point, so you might as well pit now. So they're going to surrender the spots. They're going to drop quite a bit ways back. I do think it was a better option to pit around lap 40, 50-ish. I think this is a little bit later to my liking, but looks like they'll come back out around P21. Actually, where is, hold on.
So everybody, well, so have a look at this. Left side of the screen is the number of pit stops, and look at how many have come to pit lane. So the only drivers that haven't are really 1st through 5th, 7th, 10th, and 26th. Everyone else has made a stop.
Yeah, it does look like that. No, I was trying to find what happened between Matheson and Ricky Springer. Matheson only took 2 tires. Springer took 4. So Matheson with the 2 tires, they put him back out in 21st. Springer back out in 29th with the 4 tires.
It'll be interesting to see how those two navigate their way back towards the front.
Well, I'm not sure how I feel about staying out past this point. Just not just because of strategy of it, but just because you can get buried in traffic. And I don't anticipate to see drivers come back down again.
No, I don't think so. With the amount of cautions we're getting, I don't think they're going to have to come back down.
So we'll see how things pan out here. But Scott, Nichols, Horn, Curhan, and Morton are the notables that are out on their original set of Goodyear tires and their original Sunoco race fuel. But everybody is on the lead lap except for Reese Schaefer, Matthew Bell, and Seth Berger, and then Mason Kane and Senesac have a DNF tonight as the lights extinguish on the pace car. We'll set back up for a restart.
So another shuffle in the order. It's going to be Scott, Nichols, Horn, Curran, and Morton, your top 5. And Caligari's back up there in 6th. So, and you can throw Seth Miller to the mix as well. So a lot of strong cars still near the front, but quite a few of them still need to come and make down their stop.
And Gary's done pitting, by the way.
Yeah.
So see if that works out for him. Kwame Scott and Jake Nichols on the front row here for the restart. Here we go, green flag. Miller way down on the apron in turns 1 and 2. It's going to be a hornet's nest back here.
Yeah, everyone knows swarming around. Caligari in the middle there. Michael Curran almost 3 wide. He will just stay clear of Gary. Gary will follow in suit around Matthew Morton. And look at Peyton Howell in the 52 charging to the outside.
Yeah, Peyton Howell made a pit stop quite some time ago, as well as Jeremy Miller. So both those guys should be good to go as well. Howell working his way through the 6th, trying to clear Matthew Morton. And
whoa, Miller around on the front straightaway.
Oh, back into traffic. And clips the 51 of Springer.
Hate to see that.
How badly is the 51 hurt is the question. He's got
some good damage on the left front.
Yeah, he hit him pretty hard.
See the frustration there. He's laughing about it, but I don't think it's that's frustration laughter. I've been there.
Yeah.
There was the risk there when you come into the pits, get put back in traffic.
That tags the 51 there pretty heavily. So this should open up. I mean, I don't really know why you'd go much longer than this, but I don't know if pit lane was open that time through. I guess it was. Hearn's coming back down. Yep. I think Tyler Gary and Peyton Howell are in a really good spot, having already pitted. They're going to inherit the lead, likely in the next 15 or 20 laps, Finian. We haven't really seen it run long enough green to get really any sort of tire wear to matter.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if maybe that's what some of these guys up in the front are thinking. You know, if we keep getting these start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, is it worth even coming to the pits at this point? Right? Because it isn't a requirement to pit. You don't have to if you don't need to.
Yeah, we'll see if that plays out. But while that plays out, check out the High Banks podcast. Just 2 blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 205 with Brad Slaughter and the episode with Jacob Bell. Available on Spotify. And add some life to the party this summer with Elite Entertainment, located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, and more. Visit Linktree/Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact info. don't know what it is, but the word single gives me an ick.
Yeah, it sounds wrong.
Yeah.
It sounds weird.
I don't know why bingo seems so fine to me, but singo, yeah, not. I'm sure it's very fun.
I'm just curious what the rules are.
Yeah, how is that played? I'm gonna look this up.
I think it plays like 5 seconds or so of a song, and you have to guess what it is. Well, actually, I don't know how that would go.
You're right, because bingo is just basically RNG. It's completely random.
Actually, my guess is if you have the song and they play it, then you label it.
Oh,
Yes. That's what I'm getting.
That makes the most logical
To play,
sense.
everyone is given a bingo card. They play about a minute of each song, and you match the song to a tile on your board, just like bingo. The first person to match 5 in a row and yell out "Singo" is the winner.
Okay.
Just
My
don't like the
grandmother would-
word. I don't know what it is. Again, I'm sure it's very fun. Elite Entertainment
Send
LLC. Check it out.
suggestions to Elite Entertainment. I'm sure they would like the suggestion.
Anyway, here we go. Try this again. Pace cars off. Tommy Scott brings it back to the green flag. Wow,
Big
big
now
lunge.
does a move to the outside, trying to look around Michael Curran, but can't quite get the run going on the restart. Have to fall back in line. Talageri side by side with him, and there's Travis Beckner looming in the background.
Still inside the top 10, even after his moment
Oh,
earlier on.
in front. Connor Horn gets sideways, hits the 73. He goes sideways. They keep it going.
Talageri.
They're still wrecking though, but Terry's around now.
Wow. There goes my pick. I knew it was going to be a mistake. Well, let's go back.
Inside the top 5 when that occurred.
A look. So 42 is already around here. He's still 8th, but with some fairly significant damage. So what happened to start this? Does he just get hung up on the 73?
Connor got loose.
Oh, he
There
just
you go.
spins into the 73.
That is similar to what happened to Mason Kane. Just got loose in the middle of the straightaway.
But if you look up the road, you'll see the 62 go around, and I think watch the 28 here. Conveniently disguised that, I think, as but he's up to 5th.
Yep, he will go to 5th place. And as I said, Talageri's going to be back in 33rd, and just after looking like such a good climb forward for him, but way back down the order. Connor Horn is not pitting.
Missing the horns, I'd say. Missing the chrome horn.
Guess he's deciding to just rough it out, and I don't quite blame him. I don't think really fixing the nose is not really going to do a whole lot for him.
Well, we are stuck in time here in the 80s, and back then you would just run a modified.
Yeah. I remember that was 2010, maybe? Maybe it was earlier than that. Dale Jr. at Watkins Glen stuffed his car headfirst into the turn 10 tire barriers. Came back out on track with the thing taped back up. Drove it like a modified for the last however many laps.
Was it the National Guard car?
I believe so, yeah, the blue one.
That was 2009 then.
Really liked the green amp and the blue National Guard liveries back in the day. Those were good looking paint schemes.
I still think the best set of paint schemes for me was Denny Hamlin. They had the different FedEx
yeah, the rotating
colors.
office.
I
it was
just
Kinko's, Freight. So Kinko's was blue, and that was the
Yes.
cool one because it had the decal on the hood. And then it was Freight, which was the red, Ground,
Yep.
which was the green,
Green.
and the
I think
orange
Office was red.
No, Office,
No, Office was orange.
Office
Orange.
was orange.
Was
Freight-
Office orange?
No, sorry. Office was Kinko's. It was
Right,
called Kinko's.
no, that was blue.
That was blue. Freight was red. Ground was green, and the normal one, just the regular FedEx, was orange.
Right.
They might have called it
Yes.
something, but I don't remember what they called it.
Oh, let me get some research in.
I really liked that era, and actually all the generations too. Like once it got to, I guess it was 2008 when they switched to Toyota, and he had like it was like the gradient sweep
Yes.
And then even into like 2012 when it was like the white starburst thing that had the colors on the front. Oh, so good.
All right, so Office was blue, Ground was green, Freight was red, Orange was Express.
Express, that's right.
Express,
Which is, I
yeah.
guess, it's just kind of what normal FedEx is. Because it's Federal Express. That's the. All right.
Speaking of mailing, we'll see who's going to send it here on this restart.
Green flag. Look at Seth Knoll on the inside already popping out.
He's about to send it to turn one here. An aggressive move on the inside of Travis Beckner. Beckner over the back of Michael Curran. 3 wide. Fighting it out for 5th place. They're still 3 wide off the corner. Morton trying to make something happen on the outside. Peyton Howell with a dive to the inside of Jake Nichols up ahead for 2nd.
Car to the inside, car to the outside. Travis Beckner tight off turn 4, almost making contact with Matthew Morton, and almost contact back there.
Spin, boom! McKinney.
Multiple cars on the outside wall, bumper panels flying, the caution's back out.
Bondurant's in it again. Oh, gosh. More to it than this.
The second part was the more interesting part to this for me, but yeah, McKinney, I think he just tried to shoot the gap a little bit, clipped the 54, and then, or the 45, and then Bonnerman looks like he just jumped on the brakes way too hard, and the car went straight up the hill.
Yeah, I just locked it up.
That thing, yeah, that didn't even turn. It just went straight up.
And then Trey Eitzen got a face full of it. All right, we're back under yellow.
Yeah, Adam Cabin having a... Well, he's having a decent time, but he said on the radio, and I quote, there is a lot of expletive around me. But he's actually up into 12th, and he was involved in wreck not too long ago.
We are almost at equal yellow to equal green. I think we will be at equal yellow by the time we restart. We had some good runs going. It's gotten a little crazier. We went about 20 laps from lap 25 to 42, and then 10 laps, 6 laps, 1 lap, 8 laps, 7 laps, 8 laps.
Are you able to see that?
I've got it bookmarked when I have it.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn, you got some extra data I don't.
Yeah.
Get that, like, that little Fox thing they have with the...
Well, I just have bookmarks so I can
green
do
and
this. This is the Bryce Senesac crash from earlier. Go back and look at this anytime, but pow, up, and that was the biggest hit of the day, I think. That car straight out of the race. Tyler Gary, I think, has just pulled off the racetrack. He's done.
He has, yes.
And with that, well, we've got another lap and a half or so. We might as well keep ripping through commitments here. It has been spicy this evening as of late, and we said that we were going to have some people mad at each other. Head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. Really go for some chicken nuggies with some hot sauce right now.
What kind of chicken nuggets?
I don't know.
Anywhere in particular?
I think it's dinosaur nuggies right now. I'm in a dinosaur nugget boot.
I don't remember the last time I had dinosaur
I don't either,
nuggets.
and I think that's a shameful thing. Isn't it?
Yeah, a bit. I'm a sucker for McDonald's chicken nuggets.
Yep. Right there with you.
Well, let's see who gets to bring home the bread tonight. Lap 100, we're going to restart. Kwame Scott out in front again. Still no pit stop for many of the top 10.
I think for a lot of them just planning on continuing to go
Look at
onwards.
Peyton Howell on the outside. Pulls even with Scott, and if they crash behind him, he'll have the lead right now.
He made a really great move in the last restart to work around Jake Nichols just as the caution came out. That helped him out a lot. So I'm sure he's hoping for another caution to come out right now because he's ahead of the 36, keeping him pinned to the inside. And as you can see, 3 wide action behind. James Scully to the inside of this. Groner in the middle. He has to back out. He's getting loose. He's going to hit the 7. He's going to spin, hit Okrezik. Okrezik hard, and Cameron Hurd hard into the wall. They're actually green still.
Yeah, because they're off the racetrack. Well, 4 is going to back up onto it probably.
I think he's good if he can get going before the field comes back around.
And he has. He's just going to pull along the inside lane there. And look at the 36 trying to get the lead back from Kwame Scott.
And Howell's almost got the move executed. He does. He makes the pass. He's officially clear the 36. How about Peyton now? Didn't think the 52 had anything particularly strong here tonight, but he's proven everything wrong. He's showing he's got race-winning pace.
The highest in points of the Powerhouse Racing Group, and he is the highest on the leaderboard right now. Lap 103. Peyton Howell trying to hold off Kwame Scott. Still on his bumper as we look a little further back. Jonathan Oates to the inside of Connor Horn. Somehow he's back in the top 10, even missing the front bumper.
Yeah, don't really need it here, do you? Kwame Scott would really like to get this lead back. He got a wrestle from him earlier, gave it up. And he had it back for a few, but Peyton Howell has 40 lap fresher tires. Don't know how much it's making a difference, but it could be just enough.
Could be just enough. That could be the thing that's kind of helping him out here. I'm hearing on the radio Jake Nichols like his car is starting to get away from it as well, and I'm thinking those 100-lap old tires are not really doing him any favors at the moment to push. Meanwhile, looking at Connor Horn at 52, missing a nose, but that's not stopping him. Trying to defend from the 54 at the moment. Matheson will get on by. Lennon Cordula, next one in line, and in behind him his teammate 07 Adam Cabot working the outside of Max Service, and James Scully now looking up the inside.
Interesting to note, Matheson pitted about 33 laps ago, and he's starting to climb his way back to the top 10, so maybe that's something to keep an eye on. Still over 70 laps to go in this race. Kwame Scott to the inside, trying to get the lead back from Peyton Howell.
He is not giving up just yet to the quarter panel of the 52. Going to drive in here really hard into turn 1. It's tough to keep that inside line going here, Finian, but if you can keep overlap into 3, I think Kwame Scott will have an opportunity to take this lead back.
I mean, he's trying everything he can. Went to the inside, now working to the outside now that the door's been opened up, but I just think he doesn't have the tire left. I think these guys really needed those short sprint runs, but now we're starting to get them to a slightly longer run now on this restart, and that's starting to hurt the guys that have stayed out here over 100 laps on their tires.
It really didn't help that the multi-car incident on the backstretch didn't bring out a caution. Scott trying to look to the outside, trying to get a run, can't do that. Meanwhile, Travis Beckner is taking over third from Jake Nichols.
That's the last thing that Kwame Scott wants to see, because this 28 car, well, he's used up his stuff. He hasn't really slowed down all that much. He was actually just about a tenth and a half off the leaders while completing that pass. So I think Beckner still very much is a danger to the front two.
But yeah, very much a danger if he can get things going in the right direction. If he can close this gap, it's going to be the big thing to see if he can do so. As Nichols is kind of the cork in the bottle at the moment, Michael Curran, Matthew Morton, Seth Noel and Madison fighting for position, fighting for 7th place.
Yeah, Matheson trying to make the climb up to the outside of Knoll for the 7th spot. He's gone by Jonathan Oates. He pitted about almost 70 laps ago, so still fresher tires than most inside the top 10. You see the run on the exit there for Matheson, clears the 1, and now Jonathan Oates looking to do the same.
Ricky Springer trying to move his way back forward. We documented him getting clipped earlier by the spinning Jeremy Miller, and he gets turned again, this time in a big way on the front straightaway.
Wow, yeah, Ricky Springer is not having his day's gone from
bad
to worse.
Whoa! What on earth has just happened? Philip Groner on his side. That how did that happen?
All right, well, let's take a look at that first. I have never. Well, let's have a look at this. This comes up off the corner. I think Service just comes off the wall. Just tight quarters here. And then the 11 of Groner is on the other side of the racetrack. Oh, 51 starts coming down. It just kind of spooks him.
I think that spooked him. I think he thought he was going to come down in front of him.
And approaching this, I wouldn't say that's unreasonable speed, but it just looked wild, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to catch up to the field, and he was expecting the 51 to stay still so he can cleanly pass him on the bottom, but that slight doubt there caused him to change direction. And oof.
Yeah, at first it looked like he came in there at 1,000 miles an hour, but when you watch it back, that speed was totally, I would say, reasonable. But
yeah,
with the little, just yeah, you were mentioned that just the doubt snaps back to the right and into the concrete. Man, that's an ugly one.
Well, it looks like that a lot of the field has taken the chance to come down pit lane. A huge amount of pit stops. Adam Cabot on back. Pretty much everyone down pit lane to get fresh rubber. But despite that, 2 drivers still have not touched pit lane at all. That is Kwame Scott, who started on pole. And on the polar opposite end, Travis Beckner, who started back in 40th, and they found themselves 1 and 2.
Oh boy. Well, that's a interesting look at it. I'm not sure why that happened, but it always seems to work out in the end, at least for Travis Beckner. Now, Jake Matheson's right behind it as well. He's got plenty of laps on his tires, fresher than the front 2, but with the way that 28's been running, I'm not sure if that's going to affect him at all.
42 came to pit lane. Basically everyone other than the top 2 has pit now. And we'll see how this plays out in the last 65 or so laps, but these will click down pretty quickly. I was just trying to see where our picks were sitting, because Finian's is 17th, mine's 21st with a nose off the car. And Hunter, who'd you have?
Who did I have? I was wrong. No, Matheson. I have Matheson.
Well, things are looking pretty good for you, I'd say.
Cal, who'd you pick again?
Connor Horn, against all of my better judgment. I mean, he will admit to me tomorrow that it was a poor choice of me to pick him.
Well, he got the nose back on his car, so that's good news.
Well, then I'm feeling pretty good then. Except for the fact that he's 20.
It's really messed up, but it's back on.
Well, can't all have perfect days. So we're just keep tightening the points up as we work our way through the season. In the commentator standings, Kwame Scott on the outside, back underway here from North Wilkesboro.
Beckner trying to make a charge to the inside, going to make some slight door-to-door contact with the 36 that Kwame Scott thinks is going to allow Scott to get it off the exit. He will try to dissuade the 28 from making another dive in turn 3. He will secure it. Meanwhile, behind James Scioli, haven't seen a whole lot of that 7 up to the front, but scratch that 3 wide back here with Nichols in the middle.
Yeah, tough spot to be in for the 73, but he's got to keep it focused as plenty of cars to the inside there and just shuffling all the way throughout the back half of the field.
I don't know how I feel about this. 3 wide again into turn 3. This is just so hard to manage. You just got so much happening around you. It's so easy to get crossed up, especially with little things like lockups, making for a big mess. Connor Horn's right in the middle of all this as well.
Oh, Matthew Bell spinning in front of the field. Ooh, wow, somehow everyone, I think, avoided that.
Did he get some help? It looked like he might have.
He did off the exit of 3.
Oh my gosh. He kind of turned down across Newbeginn's nose there. Well, Seth Knoll did an unbelievable job of reading this. Watch this. Woo! Gosh. Even Garrett Grant saw that coming.
Yeah, I think doing that saved a lot of people from potentially getting involved in this as well.
Where did Garrett Grant go? It doesn't sound like we get his on board here. Oh, where's Garrett? Garrett, give me Garrett. There we go. I was wondering. Okay, we're still about 12 cautions away from the record.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if we'll get to it.
Honestly, it's a lot of yellows. If we were at Pocono, I'd be smashing my head against the wall right now, but the yellows are short enough. And the race is short enough that it's still going to end in a reasonable time frame here.
Well, the race has to be no longer than 2 hours, so I think we're well into that. We just ticked over the hour mark.
Ruled a racing incident there. I think that's sort of fair. No one really had overlap. It just kind of just arrived at the same place. And that's even being generous. 2 atoms from the rear bumper of the 8 and 2 atoms from the front bumper of the 71 arrived in the same place.
I want to see that in an incident report.
All right, so 60 laps to go here. And while we've got another lap or two, make sure you check out shop.areairacing.com. Visit that website for high-quality merchandise at low prices. Shop from over 100 selections of t-shirts, hats, Champion brand clothing, and more area accessories. Easy to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear at shop.areairacing.com. Here's a fun fact about Champion clothing that I have shared before, that I'm reaffirming before I tell you, is that it began thought. Hold that thought.
We're waiting. We have a whole lot, got about half a lap till the restart.
Company was originally based in Rochester, New York.
Ah, there you go.
That's where I'm from, everybody. It's my city. Jello is from nearby Danville. Also. And Ragu. And Bausch and Lomb and other things you might know. Green flag, we're back racing. 60 laps to go.
But immediately Beckner trying to work to the outside, almost clear the 36 off his nose. Now trying to defend that outside lane as Drew now trying to make some noise on the 13. He's to the outside of Jake Matheson. Matheson making a big charge to the inside, almost gets involved.
Meanwhile, Panal wasting no time. He's back in the top 10, working that outside lane again. Meanwhile, Matheson looking to the inside for a second, not going to get it.
Wow, there was
very tight on exit.
Sorry to cut you off. There was almost a giant wreck off in turn 2 last lap around. Though one of Seth Knoll and the 42 Connor Horn, I think, got together.
They kept it straight. Drew Jua, center track, gets hit. And somebody's going to hit the wall,
Becker.
and they all are going to hit the wall now in 1 and 2.
Oh.
James Scioli's in it, Jua's in it. This kind of starts a lap prior, so watch all this unfold. '87 crowds 13 into the 28. Sends them all around for a loop.
Poor Schaefer, nowhere for him to go in the 97. Was having a good run.
Travis Beckner is still third, guys.
Huh?
Here's how.
Oh, he just got clipped a little bit. Oh, that little contact. Oh, more contact. He used the 52 on the 7 to keep him going in the right direction. Peyton Howell benefited a lot out of that.
Yeah, but he got
Douglas
to
Dubig went for a wild ride in the grass.
Actually, if you want to go and take a look at the restart, there was almost that wreck in turn 2.
I'll say there was a big stack up at right around where you said, Vinny, right around 7. There was like a massive gap.
Yeah. And we'll see why in just a little bit. So here they go take the restart. The 64 of Robinson was also involved.
Oh, the 18 gets turned.
Yeah.
And stacks everybody up here.
Robertson getting worse out of that, but they kept going in the right direction afterwards.
Right, 13 yellows. That is a lot for this track.
So we had 16 in the truck series. So we're
It's
still
gonna be
shy
a
of that.
long week, guys.
Oh yeah, it's that time of the season.
Oh boy, we need Mr. Rogers to sit all these guys down. Be nice to your
I don't think they want to be neighbors. I think they want to move away
Should
across
be
the country
my
from
neighbor.
each other.
What do you do with the mad that you feel?
Florida, send it to the corner.
Ram him! I leave it all on the racetrack.
I hear the typing. He's typing it.
What do you do with
He's
the mad
looking it
that you
up.
feel when you feel so mad you could bite? When the whole wide world seems oh so wrong and nothing you do seems very right. What do you do? Do you punch a bag? Do you pound some clay or some dough? Do you round up friends or for a game of tag or dumping that guy ahead of you that spun you out in the last restart? It's great to be able to stop when you've planned a thing that's wrong and to be able to do something else instead, like what Austin Dillon did at Richmond. We'll continue with Fred Rogers after this restart. Here we go. Green flag.
A very poor restart for the 54 Matheson. Peyton Howell looking like he can potentially move himself up to second place on the outside. And actually, he's going straight for the lead to the outside of Kwame Scott. Caution's out, though. And Justin Bonner is around once more.
Scioli.
Ooh.
Interesting. I can stop when I want to, can stop when I wish. I can stop anytime. And what a good feeling to feel like this. And know that the feeling really is mine. Know that there's something deep inside that helps us become what we can. Where a girl can someday a woman, a boy can be someday a man.
Truth. Bars.
There's also one called Go Stop Go.
No, stop.
Oh, this is about potty training.
Oh God! All right.
Never mind.
Whoa.
I thought it was going to be about crossing the street.
Nope.
Well, less than 50 to go. That's kind of what this race has been. Go, stop, go. It's just been.
Oh,
much,
here's one that seems apropos.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I think it's very, very hard to wait, especially when you're waiting for something very nice. I think it's very, very, very hard to wait.
Bars.
We just need to channel our inner Mr. Rogers to get some green flag laps here at the end.
Well, it seems like the admins are considering putting this to single files. Should this not clean up in the near future?
Payne Howell encourages it. He's leading.
All right, so I think we missed that. Kwame Scott coming into pit finally. So him and Travis Beckner both just came in. I do really question if,
Yeah.
at that point, if they knew, because I figured they would have to know they had to pit. They really should have done this about 50 laps ago, because this really puts them in a tough spot. Payne Howell, though, he's going to be loving this.
But they teased the idea of single file, but not official, not confirmed. Still double file. Wow. How about Nick Silver? He's been involved in quite some carnage throughout this race, and he's up in second.
Yeah, Nick Silver, man, he's in a good spot. Blaze McKinney dropped to the back not that long ago, and here he is sitting third. Some of the more recent pit stops have cleared some things out. We get the one to green.
Douglas Dubig is in fifth place.
Yeah, he was I wouldn't say sandbagging, but he was dirt checking it on the bottom, trying to avoid that last yellow. Went through a bump or two.
45 laps would be about 15 minutes if it was green to the end. We've had a longest run of about 20 laps. Let's do it again. Peyton Howell, Nick Silver on the front row. Green flag.
Howell McKinney getting a great restart on the inside lane.
Oh,
Nick Silver,
Cabot,
not
no
so
way.
much.
I cannot believe Cabot just didn't wipe out half the field there. He threw that thing in there so deep. There he is.
Trying to make up the spots, 3 wide with Garrett Grant and the 41 of Tyler Nichols. Nichols goes up high. Cabot will try to sail on through. He will get past both of them.
Berger in the 77 blinking in and out there. Meanwhile, Newbigging trying to steer clear of Jonathan Oates, but he'll look to the inside. Meanwhile, Curran, strong run on the outside. Jake Nichols not too far behind as well.
Still 3 wide here for about 6th spot. Contact out of 4.
Surprised that Newbegin didn't get turned around there with the contact with 24 McLaren, and will still get ahead of him. At 19, Cardullo, he gets sideways, going to save it down on the bottom, still loose, saves it in turn 3.
Took him the whole straightaway, but he kept it straight, and he lost a lot of spots. Whoa!
Tried 4 wide, they got it singled back out. There's the 28 back here. Fresh tires on the car. A lot of cars to pass here in the next few minutes.
I wouldn't be too surprised if we get a caution. Got a lot of quick drivers in the back with fresh tires, and they want to make up position because they do not have a lot of laps left in this race. And I'm looking at the... Whoa. There's someone lock up at Hammett. No, it was Morton that locked up almost took over Greg Mitchell. Sorry, the 19 of Cardullo locked up and almost took over Greg Mitchell.
A lot happening here. Meanwhile, the front two have pulled out to about 8 car lengths over the rest of the field. And Payton Howell, Blaze McKinney. Meanwhile, Landon Cardullo, the 19, still trying to gather everything back on the bottom, trying to make up the positions that he lost.
In turn 3. Things are ordering out a little bit now, but this is when people start getting more comfortable throttling back up. And this mess is still yet to clear. Connor Horn at the back of this, P10, chasing Seth Knoll, Matthew Morton, and Nichols.
I don't think anyone's really comfortable. I don't think that's the best way to phrase this. Anyone back in the midfield, they're all fighting hard.
Caution.
Emerson Arden's around, and the caution will fly once more. Oh, he gets clipped by... That's
Ball
the
9.
Oh.
This was early. Off the corner and kind of tracks up into the 5 and back across the road. 9 had it locked down, but
57, I think it's going to be a penalty. They've been giving more penalty points if you're not holding your brakes.
Yeah, especially that far back. I mean, Brent Bukhari up there, he had it woed down.
go back under yellow. So we're working about, what are we looking at, about 35 laps to go. Next time by, Payton Howell, Blaze McKinney, Jonathan Oates, your top 3. And your pick is 8th, mine is 10th. Where is Hunter's? Who? I keep forgetting who Hunter picked.
Matheson.
Right? Yep.
Matheson
12.
is 12.
I like the order.
Well,
I like 35 more laps of pace.
We're only leading by 8 points because I have picked that driver the last couple of times. So technically he's my pick that you just got to pick this week.
I don't think that's how that works.
I should get at least half points. I think that's fair.
I don't think that's fair at all. I didn't mean a recount.
Well, technically, I picked the winner of the truck race after the race was over, so that means they're my pick now.
Well, the one pick that really slept under the radar is Payton Howell. The 52 is looking pretty strong right now.
He started 16th, so kind of in no man's land, but we didn't expect the 28 to be competitive either based on where he started, and he got all the way to second.
You know what? He didn't even start there. He had an EOL, so he had to start all the way in the back.
Yeah, he did. That makes that look even more impressive. He started from the back, so he was around in the mid-30s, so he's worked that car, 152, all the way to the front, and he's kept it there.
Beckner's had to
also
do that
kept that car
twice.
clean.
Working his way through a second time now.
Where is he currently?
21st, but he's got a lot of ground to make and a lot less time than he had earlier.
I think if anything, he's looking at maybe a top 15, top 10. I don't quite think he's going to have another jab at the lead unless things get very sideways in the next 30-something laps.
Too much time for them to get sideways, so they'll do that within the first 5 laps of this next run.
All right, well, North Wilkesboro, this is going to be a fun week, isn't it? Let's have a look at our stats again. 15 yellows for 71 of our 152 laps. I love short track racing. I love short track racing. I love short track racing. What do you do with the mad that you feel? Green flag. We're back underway again at North Wilkesboro.
Good start for the 52, Blaze McKinney. We've seen him get mad under the hood. We'll see if it makes a move. Douglas Newbegin behind is sitting in third, 2nd place. Oates the Nichols. And actually Oates making a dive to the inside. Newbegin backs off out of it.
cluster outside the top 10, but even inside the top 5, it's Newbegin trying to hold off Jonathan Oates, and Jake Nichols on the outside starting to charge forward, and Seth Knoll. Don't count those two out yet.
Watch the 42. He's made up a couple spots on this restart. 51, a Springer gets into the 19 and turns Cardullo around.
Look out.
Heightson's in it as well.
Breeded a lot of cautions here tonight.
About a lap prior to this.
So on the back straightaway coming off of turn 2.
Watch the 51 here and the 36, Kwame Scott. 19 tracks up, tracks up, tracks up. Yeah, just not.
Oh, look at Travis Beckner. Oh my God, I didn't even see that. He went all the way in the grass to avoid that.
Yeah, this is got a couple of these tonight where guys, it sounds like they just don't know that they're 3 wide, but that's what the spotter's for, to tell you. Got to leave 3 car widths worth of space, and right here, right when he, I mean, look at where he is on the racetrack.
Yeah, there's no other room for the 51 and 36 to go.
Yeah, and you mentioned the 28. Watch Beckner here.
Woo. He actually ended up hitting the wall in the middle. He hit the wall right there. He had so much speed going in, couldn't slow it down. But better than the opposite and getting involved and getting more damage.
And incident points getting handed out like candy tonight.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a long list of EOLs.
They said they were going to do single file restarts, but next week will probably just end up being that anyway from all the EOLs.
Yeah, but the race starts, it's going to be a long train of cars.
I think my only thing is, like, if you penalize everybody, you're not really penalizing anybody. You know what I mean? Like, and it's tricky because it's not necessarily like
once everyone is penalized, nobody will be.
Well, it's one of those things. It's like no one is causing multiple incidents, but there are definitely cars that are involved in more than one incident. And I kind of look at it a lot like the iRacing safety rating system, where it's not your fault all the time, but it is interesting that certain drivers keep ending up in bad situations. You have to wonder that if there's more that they could be doing to drive defensively.
Yeah, it's always, you see those posts on Reddit where it's like, oh, I keep getting involved in wrecks, everyone keeps wrecking me. It's like, well
yes,
you're in all those wrecks as well. A common denominator.
Yeah. We've even seen the same thing in Grid Life Touring Cup, where there are drivers that are problem drivers, and then there are ones that never really seem to be at fault for anything, but they just keep ending up in bad situations. And it's like, man, do something different. I mean, drive better. Restart.
Advice for a race car driver: drive better.
Drive faster.
Well, no, I don't. Actually, no, don't do that. I think NASA's actual slogan is "Drive Harder." National Autosport Association. It's actually just "Drive Harder." I'm like, well, you wonder why you guys have a reputation. They also have a rule that says you only have to leave 90% of a car width when you're side-by-side.
Oh.
Yeah. Green flag. Back underway. Lap 160 to 71 did not go, and Jonathan Oates was trying to find a way through the middle.
Yeah, he's trying to still work that way through the middle. The doors have opened up. He's going to try to go there. Couldn't quite get anything there. Goes back out of it. And meanwhile, Jake Nichols in behind. He's working, trying to see if he can get to the outside for second place. Now that he's got some tires to work with, can he make anything happen in these closing laps?
Well, he's up to third right now. And
That slip up. Here comes Seth Knoll.
yeah, Knoll looking to the outside, looking for his 5th win of the season as they're 3 wide behind. Connor Horn on the outside, Matheson in the middle, Silver on the inside.
Seth Knoll making progress here right behind his teammate. Wow, the 42 didn't have a lot of space to the right of the 54 Matheson, but he made it work. Now Curhan and Kwame Scott are side-by-side spin. Greg Mitchell out of turn 2. He straightens it out, but back into traffic. Gets clobbered, and there we go.
Oh,
I
what?
was sleeping. There's a car upside down. There's the caution.
I was anticipating it. It's only a matter of time.
Wow, that took way longer than it should have for that caution to fly.
The 2, they get all tangled up here, and then how's the 19? He just locks it up, and then just gets boop.
And whoop. Wow, he just grip rolled.
Yeah. Physics.org. They had it saved
there.
right here, and then Pratt Slaughter said roof flap didn't deploy. I don't know if it was the roof fraps. The roof fraps.
Fraps recording software?
I have a license to fraps, by the way. I haven't used it or had it installed. Actually, is it installed? It is not.
Registered Hypercam 2.
Oh, man. Every NR 2003 crash compilation that I watched in 2011.
Where did the years go?
Right?
Oh, Bandicam, yeah.
Oh,
Who still uses Bandicam?
I mean, people that don't know OBS
Bandicam
exists.
still exists. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I always see people like when they record stuff on their computer, they're recording with their phone. There's so much free recording software, and it requires a couple clicks of a button.
My favorite thing is
I was 12 once. I used to record my computer screen through my phone.
my favorite thing is when you used fraps, it would like have your frame rate.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you have to have a computer that could like run double the graphic settings that you actually wanted to capture. It was
Fraps, more like craps, because your quality's bad.
it was like $35 back in 2011 or whenever I bought it.
That's a lot.
It was. And I'm sure OBS existed back then.
Did it? Back then?
It wasn't that.
Let's check.
Oh, survey says 2012.
Okay, well, I wasn't far off. Should have held off
The day
the
after
year.
I turned 12, they said, you know what? Let's launch it.
Let's just change the world today.
I remember speaking recording with a phone. I remember I tried uploading YouTube videos.
I just remember knowing that I was too good for Windows Movie Maker. And being frustrated that I didn't have an alternative.
I used Windows Movie Maker and I recorded, so I was trying to record gameplay of an Xbox, and I of course couldn't afford a capture card, so I literally set up a phone to record the TV screen. And it looked horrible.
Yeah.
Hey man, old fashioned.
So it got like 40, 50 views, so people watched it for some reason.
Yeah, I remember I got a DVD for Sony Vegas, and I was so stoked about that program. And then when I started working at Grid Life, I got access to Premiere, Photoshop, and Illustrator, and After Effects, and I've seen the light. It's worth it, guys. It is worth it. Here we go. 18 laps to go. Green flag. Peyton Howell leads the way.
Great restart for him. He's been getting these restarts really well down just to keep ahead of the rest of the drivers in behind. McKinney and Knoll nose to tail for second and third, and behind Morton. I see some three-wide action. There's Bachner side by side with the 25 of Bailey Turner and the 24 of Michael Curran.
Yeah, Curran. Oh, they're still leaning on each other down the front stretch.
Oh, Bachner! No way!
My gosh!
Just absolutely body slammed the 18.
Oh,
and Morton's in the wall.
Well, that's a huge amount of penalty points coming the 28's way.
I want to say Beckner got sidetracked from the 25 because he kept leaning on him down the straightaway.
I think he just sent it way too hard into the corner.
He missed by a mile.
The same thing where we've been seeing those trying to drag race on the corner. You see there, he went down. There's no way he was going to make the corner.
Just cleared him out, didn't he? Oh my gosh.
He used the 18 to rotate, basically.
That's a move Austin Dillon would be proud of.
Well, you might say that he had to do it, guys. And Fred Rogers says, you can make believe it happens or pretend that something's true. You can wish or hope to contemplate a thing you'd like to do. But until you start to do it, you'll never see it through, because the make-believe pretending just won't do it for you. You've got to do it. Every little bit. You've got to do it, do it, do it. And when you're through, you can know who did it. For you did it. You did it. You did it. If you want to ride a bicycle and ride it straight and tall, you can't simply sit and look at it because it won't move at all. But it's you who have to try it, and it's you who have to fall. If you want to ride a bicycle and ride it straight and tall, or smash someone into the wall. If you want to read a reading book and find the real words too, you can't simply sit and ask the words to read themselves to you. But you have to ask a person who can show you one or two ways to smash the 18 of Matthew Morton into turn number 2. You've got to do it every little bit. You've got to do it, do it, do it. And when you're through, you can know who did it. Travis Beckner, number 28 to you.
Speaking of which, plus 2 incident points to the 28.
People in the chat are asking, how did you rehearse this? Guys, I've got 8 monitors. I can read whatever I want. I don't actually have 8, but I have 3 that effectively
You might as well have 8. You have a lot of screen real estate. Wait, I think you have 4 at your desk, right? But one of them's ultra wide?
Yes. I have 3 with 2 1080p's stacked on top of the ultra wide.
Oh, right. How many screens? Basic Calvary. How many screens do I have? Yes. You technically have 6 in your whole setup.
Oh boy. Well, we're going to be 12 laps to go here. I just found a website called neighborhoodarchive.com, and you can find all the songs.
Really? Like recordings of them, or is it?
No, they're the lyrics. I have a song from Matthew Morton. Where did you go? Where did you go tomorrow? Tomorrow, why did you go away? Please hurry back tomorrow. You'll soon be today.
He's back in 25th. For those that are wondering.
All right, we're going to restart this time through. 11 laps to go this time. Peyton Howell and McKinney on the front row like before, but it is a solar flare row 2 with Jake Nichols and Seth Knoll. Green flag, we're back underway at North Wilkesboro. Just over 10 laps left.
And Howell's just hoping that no one else gets into him. Meanwhile, McKinney hard into turn 1, almost hits a 73. Nichols is trying to fight on the outside. Seth Nolan behind. Still side by side, Oates to the inside of Douglas Newbigging, and Beckner out there 3 wide, almost 3 wide for a second.
Now look at Beckner trying to get around. Look at how high he enters in the turn. Ryan, the tire tracks of Jake Matheson, also trying to work his way through the 71 of Douglas Newbigging and the 45 of Jonathan Oates.
Oh, Oates sent it down there into turn 3 to try to get overlap on the 1. He's going to get it out of turn 4. He just has to keep it here. It's going to be tough, though, and he tried to close off Matheson as well, but Jake said no thanks.
Yeah, Matheson's forcing his way up through. He's not, we talk about give and take. All that's gone. It's all take at the moment. Under 10 laps to go. Matheson trying to keep that car inside the top 5.
See the 45 machine still working to the inside, but the run off the corner goes to the 54 Matheson. Still working the high line. Beckner really setting it in behind him, almost getting into
it. Gets sideways. Saves it for a second, though. Connor Horn's going to take advantage and go to his inside.
Horn throwing it really deep into 3 just to clear the 28. He did, but leaves him vulnerable to the 25 of Bailey Turner. That's a teammate to his inside. Trouble back. Drew
Jua spins, and the bumper panel flies 50 feet in the air. The caution's back out.
Oh, there's the bumper who it belongs to.
All on his own. And corrects back into the 81 and the 17, and there's where the bumper comes from. Duck and cover, man.
Pick the fine time to leave me bumper covered.
Just ejected it.
Just get a shot from the front. Look at the front straightaway. See a catch here.
Went higher than the spotter stand.
Yeah, that thing flew so high, NASCAR had to delete the footage and tell Elliott Sadler not to talk about it.
They couldn't do that to Kyle Sieg this past Saturday because it's 2024. There's cell phones everywhere that have cameras on it. Hard to erase all that footage from every camera in sight.
Flew so high that government needed to declassify it.
Corey LaJoy, not so much.
Well, Corey's penny stack is almost as high as that.
Stacking pennies or flipping them?
Well, he's equally bad at both. But anyway.
So I was just going through the chat. We get a list from the admins, who gets the penalties and who's been the bad boys, who gets the penalty points. There have been 31 incident points handed out this race. So, oof. A lot of naughty boys heading into Darlington.
Almost half the field getting pair.
Yeah.
Well, let's get them restarted maybe one more time. I think we could do this.
Sure about that?
Fingers
Confident
crossed.
in that answer?
I am absolutely sure about it. I am as sure about this as Eldon Sawyer is about the quality of Cup Series racing right now. And I do say I like what we're seeing.
I see nothing wrong.
I don't see a lot right either, but
Well, this is going to be a pretty big restart because these front two haven't won a race all season. Blaze McKinney won back at Indianapolis. Meanwhile, Payne Howell hasn't won yet in his Area Cup Series career, and
Yeah.
be huge for the powerhouse racing duo.
The interesting thing with 52 Payne now, he doesn't have particularly great days, but he's been having very consistent days. He has one top 5, 3 top 10 so far this season. He hasn't finished worse than 15. So he's been very consistently up near the front of the field. He's really high up in the points, and this would be great to just lock himself in. Really coming in actually 3rd in the point standings to be exact, and he's looking to get that W and punch his way into the playoffs and secure that spot. But Blaze McKinney, I'm sure, is thinking otherwise, Fred.
consistency sometimes is the key, but sometimes you need to lay it on the line and go for it. 2 laps to go in North Wilkesboro, and green flags back in the air. Payne Howell gets a spectacular restart as everybody in behind is going to be pushing for the last 2 laps.
He's got it right away into the sunset, away from everyone else. See him make it back to the stripe. Nichols side by side with Oates. Noel side by side with McKinney.
Well, the white flag's waving. Can we make it to the start-finish line? It'll be an official race, and we do! White flag in the air. One more lap for Payne Howell.
Big lunges deeper in the field. The 54 and the 42 are side by side. The 28 is alongside the 25 as well. And into turn 3, more big sends, locked up tires. Payne Howell is going to outlast it all. He gets his first Area Cup Series wins, checkered flag, and crashing behind them. The 42's in the wall, the 54's around, and more across the stripe as all pandemonium breaks loose after the checkers.
And well, one thing's for certain, we know the 52 has won this race by a decent margin. Solid job for him. Just keep that car clean and up there for a majority of the day.
Powerhouse teammates finishing 1st and 3rd. Blaze McKinney getting the podium spot. We'll chat with him in a little bit, but Payne Howell led 65 laps and led the most important one.
Just nailed the restarts every time, put himself in position. It helped that those he was racing had to pit. Remember, he pit pretty early in the race, and it paid off for him. Front bumper all caved in. This will lock him into the playoffs. He knows how important that is. Not that he was at any risk of falling out of it at this stage, but he'll go in with some points on top of that. Let's have a look at our race results, Finian. And boy, this was a wild one. Payne Howell gets it done.
You know, we talked about consistency is key in the point standings, but even for this race, consistency is key. That 52 was pretty much up in the front all day long up until when he had to make pit stops, so it immediately got back there and pretty much stayed there. Seth Knowles falling behind in 2nd place with Blaze McKinney in 3rd. Then you got Nichols, Oates, Matheson, Connor Horn, Douglas Newman, Bailey Turner, and Adam Cabot rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, some pretty strong runs for, oh, I just lost my thing there, but pretty strong run for Travis Beckner throughout the whole calamity that it was. Finished 11th. Curran, Springer, Scioli, Tyler Nichols 15th, and then Schaefer, Payne, Robertson, Bell, Max Service rounding out the top 20.
And 21st place is Matthew Morton. Got sort of taken out there towards the end, but recovered for an all-right finish about mid-pack. Nick Silver, Seth Berger, Greg Mitchell, Drew Jua, Edward Scher Jr., Arden, Bondurant, Grant, and Pukari wrap up your top 30. And here's drivers that had a tough day. Bryce Senesac out fairly early. Ryan Hartz never took the green. But Mason Kane, Jeremy Miller, Tyler Gary all out with crash and collision damage, ending their nights early. Let's talk to Blaze McKinney. He comes home in 3rd place in the number 87. And boy, it was rough and tumble out there, man. It was a messy one. But you started this race in 7th place, went as low, as far down as 36th, and rebounded to 3rd. Your thoughts on tonight's race?
Yeah, it was a roller coaster of a race for sure. I mean, Started off the race great, started moving up. Just made a mistake there early, dropped back, and then once I was back there, it's so hard to avoid all those accidents and everything. Everybody's just so packed together, but proud of the effort. It was so much fun coming back up through the field a couple times. I feel like at this point I might have won the most passes of the race award, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really proud of Peyton. He ran a great race. I'm really proud of him for Powerhouse Racing and everything. It's just so cool.
Yeah, tonight a lot of yellows here. It seemed like that put a lot of importance on the restarts late. Did you need more laps, you think, to get a chance to get by Seth and Peyton there, or were you more comfortable on the restarts and trying to get a jump?
I think definitely I needed more green flag laps, because once we got settled in right there running, I think I was starting to kind of get in a groove, and once I got in a rhythm, I was feeling better. But just all those restarts, you kind of get knocked out of your rhythm, and it's so hard to get back into it. But yeah, I think just more laps there. If we didn't have so many yellows, I think we would have had a good shot at it. But overall, happy with third.
Well, it'll be P3 for Blaze McKinney tonight in the number 87. Blaze, congrats. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. I do want to thank Midwestern Electric for coming on board this season, and Powerhouse Racing and all the guys over there. It's a lot of fun racing with them again. Thanks to them.
All right, Blaze. Thanks. Appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and good luck.
Thank you.
All right, starting with Seth Knoll, who so far this year has finished no worse than 12th place. And Seth, tonight you're going to continue a streak of top 2 finishes. First at your last 2 events at Dover and Sonoma, and a second place tonight. Unfortunately, I didn't pick you tonight. I went on a limb and took the 42, but Finian picked you, so he re-extends his commentator standings lead. Ooh. But 17th was where you started, fell down to 26th, and up to 2nd at the end. Take us through it.
So that's why I didn't win. That was the reason?
Yeah.
Kyle, I'm like, come on.
I know.
No, we had to keep the streak going, Kyle. We can get Finney and boot him out of here. I mean, you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, just a crap race all around. That was garbage from the driver's perspective. I'm sure it was garbage from the broadcaster's perspective as well. But we managed a P2, I guess. Good points tonight for the team and us as well. I think Powerhouse was able to get us on team points tonight, so we were able to hold close. But, I mean, with how crap the race was, and we still got a 2nd, a 4th, we'll take it.
Well, we had some fun up here despite the tough night out there on the racetrack. I just have one more question for you. What do you do with the mad that you feel?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Stuff it down. All right, I do got to shout out Douglas Newbinging. I said that if I got in the booth tonight, I'd shout him out. We used the McDonald's app tonight. Thank you, Douglas, for saving me money tonight. I appreciate that. But yeah.
All right, Seth.
Good finish.
You'll get the context later, I'm sure. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
I appreciate you, boys.
And Peyton Howell gets it done. Came into the night 3rd of the championship standings, held off Seth Knoll and Blaze McKinney on numerous late race restarts. It just fell into your lap, Peyton, but you never gave it up, and you get your first Area Cup Series win. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, especially with the EOL. I literally started 40th. And those first couple runs, I made a couple passes getting up to the front. We took the lead from Kwame, like right in the middle of the race, I think is when it was. And then I didn't know whether I should pit or not, like after I'd got the lead and that caution come out. And I'm glad I did, because that was the final time we had pit. And I'm glad that I had Blaze in 2nd. That was like refreshing to know that I had some space between me and those solar flare guys. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that race a lot.
Well, it was an interesting night from a cautions perspective as well. Take me through the restart process as well, because it seems like here the zone's pretty short, but you were so good on those restarts, especially that last one, and you gave no one a chance to beat you.
Yeah, I had me and Blaze kept talking through like what the restart would be and like where the best place would be for us to restart. And when I picked the bottom and he launched with me, I did not think that he would just give it to me like he did. So that scared me after that. So I ended up picking the top, and it just seems like the top just gets such a better launch. It's like there's more grip up at the top than there is. Because I was spinning the tires on the bottom all night. But like if I restart on the top, it seemed like I was fine going through the gears.
Well, you got it done and led 65 laps en route to your first victory of the season. Confidence now stacking for you as we head into one of the next hardest tracks on the calendar, Darlington, next week?
Yeah, we go from my best A-core track to my worst track at Darlington. So, I mean, it gives me a little bit of confidence going in there. I suck at saving tires at that track. But I said the same thing about Charlotte. I said I'd run like 30th, and we ended up with top 5, so you never know how next week will go.
Peyton Howell wins at North Wilkesboro. Congratulations, Peyton. Enjoy it, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, real quick, can I thank Ben for giving me the opportunity to even race with these guys, the whole Powerhouse team, Florida State Builders, Martin Sports, Premier Racing Setups, Adrenaline Captures. I know Bladen's one of my best friends, and he's at Navy boot camp right now. I really wish he was here to see this. But I'm praying that he gets through that, and we just got a win for him tonight. I just got my first letter in the mail from him today, so that was really cool.
Good stuff, Peyton. Congratulations, Ben. We'll see you next week at Darlington.
Yep, dang it.
All right, guys, and man, an interesting evening. One last look at our stats for the evening. 19 yellows. We're only 5 away from the all-time SimTV record for 93 laps. Boy, we had to keep it lighthearted to keep this one from being tough. But, some nights you're going to get those, and especially on the short tracks, you kind of expect it. But a shorter race kind of kept it, and a short lap really kept it manageable, Finian. But final thoughts here on North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, a bit of a mess, but the couple green flag laps we got racing was very entertaining. We saw some great action, some great side-by-side action when they weren't completely running into one another. But some great racing overall. I'm sure for a lot of these drivers, they're happy to be leaving here. But for a majority of them, they still got 2 more nights of racing left, both Tuesday night and Thursday night with the Pro Series car and the Truck Series.
Yeah, it doesn't get much easier for those guys, but for Peyton Howell, it is pretty much easier for him now. He's got that win. He's locked in officially, although he is 3rd in points. Pretty sure he's going to be locked in anyway, but that win eases some of the stresses heading into Darlington next week for the Cup Series. But like Vinny mentioned, we still got the Truck Series on Tuesday and the Pro Series on Thursday at North Wilkesboro.
Well, it has been an interesting evening for sure, and kind words of Mr. Rogers helping us push along through it tonight. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Truck Series right here from North Wilkesboro. From Kyle Heyer and Hunter Sleppy to Finian DeCuna, we wish you the best. We'll see you next time.